Lieutenant Han Ta wiped sweat from his forehead as he stepped carefully through the ancient ruins. The air was hot and dry on this small, unknown planet. His boots crunched on the dusty ground. "Find anything interesting yet?" crackled the voice of Captain Kim through his helmet radio. "Nothing special, Captain. Just more broken walls and strange writing," Han replied. He had been exploring these ruins for 3 days now. The Odysseus, their spaceship, had found this planet by accident when they had to change course during a space storm. Han was the team's best exoarchaeologist. That meant he studied ruins left by aliens. At 32 years old, he had already discovered more alien artifacts than anyone else on the ship. But this place was different. These ruins were older than anything humans had found before. As the orange sun began to set, Han decided to check one more room before returning to the ship. He shined his light into a small chamber that was mostly buried under rocks. Something caught his eye, a faint glimmer among the dust. "I might have something here," he told the captain. Han moved some rocks aside and reached into a small hole in the wall. His fingers touched something smooth and cold. Carefully, he pulled out a small bottle. It was about the size of his palm, made of a crystal-like material he had never seen before. Inside the bottle, a strange liquid swirled with colors that seemed to move on their own. The bottle was perfectly clean, with no dust or damage, unlike everything else in the ruins. "Han, it's getting dark. Time to return to the ship," the captain ordered. Han looked at the bottle in his hand. He should report this find right away. All artifacts were supposed to be taken to the lab for testing before anyone touched them. Those were the rules. But something about this bottle called to him. Without really thinking about it, Han slipped the bottle into his pocket. "On my way back, Captain. Nothing interesting in this last room," he said. That night, alone in his cabin aboard the Odysseus, Han took out the bottle. Under the bright lights, it was even more beautiful. The liquid inside shifted between blue, purple, and colors Han couldn't even name. There were markings on the bottle that looked like writing, but not in any language Han knew. He ran his finger over the strange symbols, trying to understand what they might mean. "What are you?" he whispered to the bottle. As Han turned the bottle in his hands, his thumb rubbed across a particular symbol. Suddenly, the bottle grew warm. Han tried to put it down, but it seemed stuck to his hand. The liquid inside began to glow brighter and brighter. A beam of light shot out from the bottle's opening. It was so bright that Han had to close his eyes. The light filled his small cabin, pulsing with energy. Han felt a strange tingling sensation throughout his body. When he opened his eyes again, the bottle was floating in the air in front of him. The light had formed a swirling circle that grew larger and larger. Han stepped back until he hit the wall. His heart pounded in his chest. For the first time in his career as an explorer, he felt true fear mixed with excitement. The light began to take shape. First, it formed a human-like outline. Then details started to appear. Han's mouth fell open as he watched. When the light finally faded, the bottle dropped to the floor with a soft clink. But Han didn't notice. He was staring at what the light had left behind. Floating a few inches above his cabin floor was a woman. The most beautiful woman Han had ever seen. Her skin had a soft blue tint that seemed to glow from within. Her eyes were like galaxies, deep and full of stars. And she was wearing nothing but a small, shimmering bikini that seemed to be made of the same crystal material as the bottle. She smiled at Han's shocked face and spoke in a voice that sounded like music. "Hello, Master. I am Jisoo. I have been waiting for someone to find me for a very, very long time." Han stood frozen in place. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. The blue-skinned woman continued to float in the air, watching him with a smile. "You seem surprised," Jisoo said. Her voice had a musical quality, like bells ringing softly. "That is normal. Most beings are shocked when they first see me." Han finally found his voice. "What? Who are you?" Jisoo did a slow spin in the air. her long black hair floating around her as if she were underwater. The small crystal bikini she wore sparkled under the cabin lights. I told you, I am Jisoo. I am what your people might call a genie. She pointed to the bottle on the floor. I have been trapped in that bottle for many, many years. You have freed me by rubbing the symbol of release. Han shook his head, trying to clear it. A genie? Like from old Earth stories. That's not possible. There must be some scientific explanation. Jisoo laughed. The sound was like water flowing over rocks. Your science cannot explain everything, Han Ta. How do you know my name? Han asked, taking the step back. I know many things about you. When you touched my bottle, I learned about you. Jisoo lowered herself until her bare feet touched the floor. She walked around the small cabin, looking at Han's things with interest. This is a strange home. It moves through space. It's a spaceship. The Odysseus, Han explained automatically. Then he shook his head again. Wait, I'm talking to you like you're real. This can't be happening. Maybe there was something in the air at those ruins. Maybe I'm hallucinating. Jisoo picked up a book from Han's desk. She flipped through the pages, then put it down. I am very real, Han Ta. And now I must serve you. Serve me. Yes, you have freed me from the bottle. Now, according to the ancient covenant, I must grant you 3 wishes. Han sat down on his bed. 3 wishes. Of course. He laughed nervously. This is crazy. Jisoo moved closer to him. Han noticed that she smelled like a flower garden after rain. It is not crazy. It is magic, or what you might call advanced technology. My people were masters of the universe long before humans learned to make fire. She sat next to him on the bed. Han tried not to stare at her blue skin or the tiny bikini that seemed to be made of moving crystal. So I get 3 wishes. Anything I want? Han asked. Jisoo nodded. Almost anything. There are rules. Like no wishing for more wishes, Han said with a small smile. Exactly. Jisoo looked pleased. You know the basics. That is good. I also cannot bring back the dead. I cannot make someone fall in love. And I cannot change events that have already happened. Han thought for a moment. What are you, really? Where do you come from? Jisoo stood up and walked to the middle of the room. She raised her arms, and suddenly the ceiling of the cabin seemed to disappear. Han could see stars and galaxies above them. My people were called the Celestials. We ruled this galaxy long ago. We were beings of pure energy who could take any form we wished. The stars above them moved, showing great cities and strange beings. We had power beyond your understanding. The images faded, and the cabin ceiling returned. Jisoo looked sad now. But you're trapped in a bottle? Han asked gently. Jisoo nodded. I was punished, forced to serve lesser beings by granting their wishes. She looked at Han. No offense intended. None taken, Han said dryly. So I'm your master now. Until you use your 3 wishes, then I return to the bottle, waiting for the next person to find me. Jisoo straightened her shoulders and her sad expression disappeared. She smiled brightly. Now, what is your first wish, master? Han looked at her, taking in her confident pose and slightly condescending smile. She might look partly human, but it was clear she thought of herself as far superior. He wondered what it would be like to be so powerful, yet trapped serving others. A strange idea began to form in his mind. Han paced around his small cabin while Jisoo watched him with curious eyes. He needed to think carefully about this situation. Let me get this straight, Han said, stopping in front of her. I get 3 wishes. Anything I want, with a few exceptions. Jisoo nodded. That is correct. And you have to grant them exactly as I ask for them. Yes, Jisoo said. But unlike genies in your human stories, I am not trying to trick you. I will fulfill your wishes as you truly intend them. Han raised an eyebrow. That's surprisingly honest. Jisoo shrugged. The movement made the crystals on her bikini catch the light. It is part of my punishment to serve well. If I tried to twist your wishes, my sentence would be extended. Han sat down at his desk chair. Tell me more about these rules. No wishing for more wishes, no bringing back the dead, no making someone fall in love, and no changing the past. Anything else? Jisoo thought for a moment. I cannot grant wishes that would destroy entire worlds or species, and I cannot grant wishes about other wish-givers like myself. She smiled. But those rarely come up. Han nodded slowly. How powerful are you exactly? Jisoo raised her hand. A small ball of light formed above her palm. The ball grew and changed shape, becoming a perfect miniature of the Odysseus spaceship. Every detail was correct, down to the small dent on the left wing from a recent asteroid hit. I am what you might call a being of the 9th dimension. I can manipulate matter, energy, space, and time within the limits I mentioned. The ship in her hand disappeared. I can create, transform, or move almost anything. I can take you anywhere in the universe in an instant. That's incredible, Han whispered. To you, perhaps. Jisoo said this with a slight smile that made Han feel like a child who was impressed by a simple card trick. To my people, these are basic abilities. And your people, the Celestials, what happened to them? Jisoo's face grew serious. They are gone from this part of the universe. After ruling for millions of years, they moved on to more interesting places. She looked down at the bottle on the floor. Only those of us who were punished remain. What did you do to be punished? Han asked gently. Jisoo's eyes flashed. That is not important. What is important is your wishes. She straightened up and smiled again. Most masters wish for wealth, power, knowledge, or pleasure. What do you desire? Han taught. Han stood up and walked to the small window of his cabin. Outside, the stars shone brightly against the darkness of space. He thought about what Jisoo had told him, how she viewed humans as lesser beings, how she was forced to serve them as punishment. I need time to think about my wishes, he said finally. These are important choices. Jisoo looked surprised. Most people wish immediately. I'm not most people, Han replied. And if you're as powerful as you say, I should be careful what I ask for. Jisoo smiled, but this time it seemed more genuine. Wise. You have until the bottle is opened next to make your wishes. I will wait. Han turned back to her. Wait. What happens if I don't make all 3 wishes? What if something happens to me? I return to the bottle until someone else finds it. Jisoo said simply. I have waited centuries between masters before. Han frowned. That sounds lonely. Jisoo's face showed surprise at his concern. Time passes differently for me in the bottle, and I do not experience emotions as humans do. Han studied her face. Despite her words, he thought he saw something there, a flash of sadness, perhaps loneliness. Maybe the Celestials weren't so different from humans after all. An idea began to form in Han's mind, a wish unlike any Jisoo had likely heard before. He wondered what would happen if he used his wish not for himself, but for her. I think I'm ready for my first wish, Han said quietly. Jisoo stood straight, her blue skin glowing slightly in the dim light of the cabin. What is your command, Master? Jisoo waited, her arms crossed over her crystal bikini top. The blue glow of her skin lit up Han's small cabin. She looked powerful and confident, like someone who had heard every possible wish and was ready for anything. But Han's next words made her confidence fade. I wish, Han said slowly, making sure to choose his words carefully, for you to experience what it feels like to be human, with all our limitations, emotions, and capacity for growth, for 1 Earth week. Jisoo's eyes widened. Her mouth opened slightly. For the first time since she had appeared, she looked truly shocked. You? What? She asked. You want to use your wish on me? Han nodded. Yes, that's my wish. Jisoo shook her head. No master has ever used a wish on me before. You should wish for wealth, or power, or knowledge. Something for yourself. This is what I want, Han said firmly. Jisoo floated down until her feet touched the floor. She looked at Han with confusion in her eyes. Why would you wish this? Han thought for a moment. Because I think you've been wrong about humans. You call us lesser beings, but I don't think you understand us at all. I want you to know what it's like to be human before you judge us. Jisoo looked uncomfortable. I cannot refuse a properly made wish. She stepped closer to Han. But are you sure? This would be a waste of a powerful wish. I'm sure, Han said. Jisoo sighed. Very well. Your wish is granted. She raised her hands above her head. The blue glow around her grew brighter. Energy swirled around her body. Han had to cover his eyes against the intense light. When he looked again, Jisoo was still standing there. But she was different. Her skin had lost its blue glow and now looked like normal human skin with a light tan. Her eyes no longer held the depths of galaxies, but were a deep brown. Her crystal bikini had changed too, becoming simple clothes, a white t-shirt and blue pants. Jisoo gasped. She touched her face, then her arms. Her eyes widened with alarm. I feel strange, she whispered. Then she hugged herself. I'm cold. Why am I cold? Han quickly grabbed a blanket from his bed and put it around her shoulders. Humans feel temperature changes. Is this your first time feeling cold? Jisoo nodded, pulling the blanket tighter. I've never felt anything like this before. She looked down at her now normal hands. Everything is so dull. I can't sense the energy flows anymore. I can't feel the stars. Her voice sounded panicked. Then her stomach made a loud growling noise. Jisoo jumped, looking startled. What was that? She asked fearfully. Han couldn't help but smile. You're hungry. Humans need to eat regularly. Hungry. Jisoo repeated the word like it was from a foreign language. This is uncomfortable. Being human often is, Han said gently. But there are good things too. Just then, there was a knock on Han's cabin door. Jisoo flinched at the sound. Lieutenant Ta, came Captain Kim's voice. I need to speak with you about yesterday's exploration findings. Jisoo looked at Han with wide, frightened eyes. The deep red blush spread across her cheeks, the first time Han had seen any color in her face besides blue. Who is that? She whispered. What do we do? I can't make myself invisible anymore. Han realized that Jisoo was experiencing something new. Embarrassment, and maybe even fear. The powerful, confident being who had appeared in his room was gone. In her place was someone vulnerable and confused. It's okay, Han whispered to her. Just follow my lead. He turned to the door. One moment, Captain. Han quickly grabbed a jacket for Jisoo to wear over the t-shirt. We'll need a story about who you are and why you're here, he whispered. The blush on Jisoo's face grew deeper. She looked down at her human hands, then back at Han. What have you done to me? She asked quietly. Just a moment, Captain. Han called again. He turned to Jisoo and whispered quickly. Your name is Jisoo. You're a researcher I met on the planet. You specialize in ancient civilizations. Got it. Jisoo nodded nervously, pulling the jacket tighter around herself. Han opened the door. Captain Kim stood there, a tall woman with short gray hair and a serious face. Lieutenant Tai, your report on the ruins is... The captain stopped when she saw Jisoo. Her eyebrows went up. Who is this? Han smiled. Captain, this is Jisoo. She's a researcher I met while exploring the ruins. She has valuable information about the civilization that lived there. Captain Kim looked suspicious. And how did she get on my ship without my knowledge? Han's mind raced. She was in trouble, Captain. The local settlers were threatening her for working in the ruins. I brought her aboard for safety. He held his breath, hoping the captain would believe him. Captain Kim studied Jisoo for a long moment. Is this true, Ms. J? Jesu's face was still flushed red. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Then her stomach growled loudly again. The captain's face softened slightly. "When did you last eat, young lady?" I don't remember," Jesu said honestly. Captain Kim sighed. "Very well. Lieutenant Tay, take Ms. G to the mess hall and get her some food. Then both of you report to my office. We have much to discuss." After the captain left, Han let out a deep breath. "That was close. I didn't like that," Jesu said, still blushing. "I felt strange. My heart was beating very fast, and my face feels hot." "That's anxiety," Han explained, "and embarrassment. Normal human emotions when you're in a difficult situation." He smiled at her. "Come on, let's get you some food." In the mess hall, Jesu stared at the tray of food Han placed in front of her. There was soup, bread, and fruit. "What do I do with this?" she asked. "You eat it," Han said. "Here, use this spoon for the soup." Jesu carefully picked up the spoon and tried the soup. Her eyes widened in surprise. "This is strange," she said. She took another spoonful. "But also good." Han smiled as he watched her discover the taste of food for the first time. She tried everything on her tray, making different faces with each new flavor. "Humans do this every day?" she asked, finishing the fruit. "Several times a day," Han said. "Our bodies need energy from food." Jesu looked around the mess hall at the other crew members eating and talking. They all seemed different from each other. The way they eat, the way they talk. "That's because we are all different," Han explained. "Humans are individuals. We have our own thoughts, feelings, and ways of doing things. My people are not like that," Jesu said quietly. We're more connected, more the same." After eating, Han took Jesu to the observation deck. It was empty except for them. Large windows showed the stars and the planet below them. Jesu pressed her hand against the cold glass. "I used to be able to feel all of this," she whispered. "The energy of the stars, the movement of the planets. Now I just see lights." "But how does it make you feel?" Han asked. Jesu was quiet for a long time. "Small," she finally said. "I feel small. And something else I don't have a word for." "Maybe awe," Han suggested. A feeling of wonder and respect mixed with fear. Jesu nodded slowly. "Yes, awe. I never felt that before." She turned to Han. "Why did you wish this for me? To make me feel small?" "No," Han said gently. "To help you understand. Being human isn't about power. It's about experiencing life with limitations and finding meaning anyway." Jesu looked back at the stars. "I'm not sure I like being human." "It's only been a few hours," Han said with a smile. "Give it time. There's much more to experience." Jesu touched her stomach, which was now full. "Like more food?" Han laughed. "Yes, like more food. And sleep. You'll need to do that soon. And work, and play, and all the other things humans do." "Sleep?" Jesu asked, looking worried. "What is sleep?" Han realized there was a lot more explaining to do. That night, Han helped Jesu prepare for her first sleep. He gave her his bed while he made a simple bed on the floor. "I don't understand," Jesu said, sitting stiffly on the edge of the bed. "Why must we become unconscious for hours every day?" "Humans need rest," Han explained. "Our bodies and minds repair themselves during sleep." Jesu looked afraid. "What if I don't wake up?" "You will," Han promised. "Everyone does." It took a long time for Jesu to fall asleep. She kept opening her eyes and calling Han's name to make sure he was still there. Finally, her breathing became slow and steady. Han watched her peaceful face for a moment before falling asleep himself. The next morning, Jesu was amazed. "I saw pictures in my mind while I was sleeping," she exclaimed. "They didn't make sense, but they felt real." "Those are dreams," Han said. "All humans have them." "Dreams?" Jisoo repeated the word softly. My people don't dream. After breakfast, Han took Jisoo to meet with Captain Kim. They had decided Jisoo would help with the research team while she was on the ship. As they walked through the hallways, Jisoo suddenly stopped. She put her hand on the wall of the ship. What's wrong? Han asked. There is something wrong with this ship, Jisoo said quietly. I can feel it. Han was surprised. I thought you lost your powers. Most of them, yes, Jisoo said. But I think some knowledge remains. She closed her eyes. The engine room. We should go there. In the engine room, engineers were working on one of the main drive units. Chief Engineer Park looked up when Han and Jisoo entered. Lieutenant Ta, this area is restricted, Park said. I know, but Han began. Your ship is in danger, Jisoo interrupted. The crystal matrix in your main drive is cracked. Park looked shocked. How could you possibly know that? We just discovered it ourselves. Jisoo walked to the large engine. My people, my family worked with similar technology. She pointed to a panel. The problem is there. When the engineers opened the panel, they found exactly what Jisoo had described. A hairline crack in a crystal that powered the ship's main engines. If this had broken while we were at full speed, Park said, it could have caused a catastrophic failure. Later, in Han's cabin, Jisoo sat quietly on the bed. How did you know about the engine? Han asked. I don't know, Jisoo admitted. I felt it. Like a memory in my body, not in my mind. She looked at her hands. There is much about my own people I never understood. Jisoo was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke slowly, as if telling a secret. My people, the Celestials, believe we were better than all other life forms. We used our powers to control what we called lesser species across the galaxy. Her eyes looked sad. I was punished because I showed mercy to humans on a planet we were changing. Changing? Han asked. Taking over, Jisoo clarified. I helped a group of humans escape. The council said I was too soft. They put me in the bottle as punishment. She looked up at Han. The bottle was meant to humiliate me by forcing me to serve beings we saw as primitive. Han sat next to her. And now, do you still think humans are primitive? Jisoo thought for a moment. I'm starting to see that human limitations make you different, not lesser. You feel things I never knew existed. You care for each other. You dream. She looked out the small window at the stars. My people had all the power in the universe, but we never learned to dream. Han smiled. Maybe that's why your people left this part of the universe. Maybe they were looking for something they couldn't find. Maybe, Jisoo said softly. She turned to Han with serious eyes. But there's something you should know. My people left. Traps. Dangerous places in space that could harm your ship and crew. Traps? Han asked, concerned. Where? I'm not sure, Jisoo said, but I feel we might be heading toward one. 3 days passed. Jisoo learned more about being human each day. She learned to enjoy different foods. She got used to sleeping and even looked forward to her dreams. She helped the research team study the ruins, sharing what she knew without revealing who she really was. On the morning of the 6th day, Han woke to a loud alarm. Red lights flashed in his cabin. What's happening? Jisoo asked, sitting up quickly on the bed. Emergency alert, Han said. He grabbed his uniform jacket. We need to get to the bridge. On the bridge, Captain Kim stood by the main screen. The screen showed a strange sight, a swirling area of space ahead of the ship. It looked like a whirlpool of stars and light. What is that? Han asked. We don't know, the captain said. It appeared suddenly on our course. The sensors can't make sense of it. Jisoo stepped forward. Her face was pale. It's a trap, she said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. What do you mean? Captain Kim asked. Jisoo took a deep breath. It's a dimensional rift. A trap left by ancient beings. If the ship gets too close, it will be pulled in and torn apart. The captain frowned. How could you possibly know that? Han stepped in. Jisoo has extensive knowledge of ancient civilizations, Captain. If she says it's dangerous, I believe her. Can we go around it? Asked the pilot. We're already caught in its gravity field, said Chief Engineer Park. Our engines aren't strong enough to break free. The ship shuddered. On the screen, they could see they were moving closer to the swirling center of the rift. We have maybe 1 hour before we're pulled in completely, Park said grimly. For the next hour, the crew tried everything. They'd redirected power to the engines. They fired reverse thrusters. They even tried launching torpedoes at the rift to disrupt it. Nothing worked. In Han's cabin, Jisoo paced nervously. There must be something we can do, Han said. Jisoo stopped pacing. She looked at Han with sad eyes. There is, but you won't like it. Tell me, Han said. I know how to stop the rift, Jisoo said. The Celestials built them with a specific deactivation sequence. But, she paused. In my human form, I can't do it. I would need my powers back. Han understood immediately. You're saying I need to use my second wish. Jisoo nodded. You must wish for me to have my powers again. Then I can save the ship. Han looked troubled. But that would end your human experience. You'd go back to being a Celestial. Yes, Jisoo said softly. Han could see pain in her eyes. You don't want that, do you? Jisoo walked to the small window. Outside, the stars were being pulled toward the swirling rift. These past days have been difficult, but also amazing, she said. I felt things I never knew existed. I've experienced what it means to be human. She turned to Han. But if you don't use your wish, everyone on this ship will die. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. The intercom buzzed. Lieutenant Ta, came the captain's voice. Report to the bridge immediately. We're running out of time. Han looked at Jisoo. Is there no other way? Jisoo shook her head. The rift can only be closed by celestial power. It was designed that way. Han thought about everything Jisoo had experienced as a human. The wonder on her face when she tasted food for the first time. Her peaceful expression when she slept. The way she had started to care about the crew. He knew what he had to do, but he hated the thought of taking her new experiences away. There's only 15 minutes left before we're pulled into the center, Jisoo said quietly. You need to decide now. Han took a deep breath. He knew his next words would change everything. Han looked at Jisoo. In just a few days, she had changed. She was no longer the proud, distant being who had appeared in his cabin. She had learned to smile, to feel, to care. I know what I have to do, Han said, but I hate to take away what you've gained. Jisoo touched his arm gently. You gave me a gift, Han. You helped me understand what being human means. No one can take that away, even if I return to my celestial form. The ship shook violently. Lights flickered. The intercom crackled with urgent voices. We have to hurry, Jisoo said. Han nodded. He took a deep breath and spoke clearly. I wish for you to have the power to save this ship and everyone aboard, but to retain all the understanding and growth you've gained as a human. Jisoo's eyes widened. That's not what I expected. A soft glow began to form around Jisoo. It grew brighter and brighter until Han had to shield his eyes. When he looked again, Jisoo had transformed. She was floating slightly above the floor. Her skin had returned to its blue color, but it seemed different now, warmer somehow. Her simple clothes had changed back into the crystal bikini, but it seemed less revealing and more like armor. Her eyes held the depth of galaxies again, but there was something new in them, something human. How do you feel? Han asked. Jisoo looked at her hands. Energy danced between her fingers. I feel whole, she said. I have my powers back, but I also have. She touched her chest where her heart was. I have feelings, real feelings. Another violent shake of the ship reminded them of the danger. "Can you save us?" Han asked. Jisoo nodded. "Yes. Take me to the bridge." On the bridge, everyone stared as Jisoo floated in, glowing with blue light. Captain Kim reached for her weapon. "Captain, wait," Han said quickly. "She's here to help us." "What is she?" the captain asked, eyes wide. "A friend," Han said simply. "Please, trust me." Jisoo floated to the front of the bridge. Through the main window, they could see the swirling rift getting closer. "I need direct access to space," Jisoo said. The captain hesitated, then nodded to an officer. "Open the observation deck airlock. Seal all interior doors." Jisoo turned to Han. "Thank you for your wish," she said softly. "It was wiser than you know." Then she disappeared in a flash of light. On the main screen, they could see Jisoo floating in space, facing the massive rift. She looked tiny against the swirling darkness. Jisoo raised her hands. Bright energy flowed from her fingers in complex patterns. She was weaving something in space, a net of light that spread out toward the rift. "What is she doing?" the captain asked. "I think she's using a combination of celestial power and human intuition," Han said. "Something no pure celestial could do." The net of light touched the edges of the rift. The swirling slowed. Jisoo made more complex movements with her hands. The energy pulsed and changed color. The ship stopped shaking. Slowly, the pull of the rift weakened. "We're breaking free," the pilot announced. "The gravity field is collapsing." On the screen, Jisoo continued her work. The rift began to shrink. She pushed her hands forward in one final motion, and the rift collapsed in on itself with a flash of light. Then it was gone, leaving only normal space behind. A moment later, Jisoo appeared back on the bridge in another flash of light. She was breathing hard, as if the work had tired her. "It's done," she said. "The trap is gone forever." The bridge crew stared at her in amazement. Then Captain Kim stepped forward. "I don't know who or what you are," the captain said, "but you saved my ship and my crew. Thank you." Jisoo smiled, a real, human smile despite her otherworldly appearance. "You're welcome, Captain." Later, back in Han's cabin, Jisoo examined herself in the small mirror. "I'm different now," she said. "Not fully celestial anymore, but not human either." "Is that bad?" Han asked. Jisoo turned to him. "No, it's better. I have the best of both worlds." She smiled. "You gave me a perfect wish, Han. Han looked at her crystal bikini. "Do you want your human clothes back?" Jisoo laughed. "A sound like music. Perhaps later. For now, I'm comfortable as I am." She tilted her head. "You still have one wish left." The next day, the Odysseus continued its journey toward Earth. The crew regarded Jisoo with a mixture of awe and gratitude. Stories spread about the blue woman who had saved them from certain death. Jisoo spent her time moving between her celestial form and a more human appearance. She could now switch at will, sometimes glowing blue and floating above the floor, other times looking like a normal human woman. Han found her on the observation deck that evening, looking out at the stars. She was in her celestial form, the crystal bikini shimmering in the dim light. "Thinking about home?" Han asked as he joined her. "I'm not sure where home is anymore," Jisoo said. "The Celestials left this galaxy long ago, and I'm different now." She turned to Han. "Thanks to you." Han smiled. "I just gave you a chance to experience something new." "You gave me much more than that," Jisoo said. "You helped me see that power isn't everything, that there's value in limitation, in emotion, in caring for others." They stood in comfortable silence for a while, watching the stars. "We'll reach Earth in a few months," Han finally said. "What will you do then?" Jisoo looked down at the crystal bottle, which she now carried with her. "According to the ancient covenant, I must return to the bottle after your third wish is granted. I will wait for the next person to find me." Han frowned. That sounds awful. It was my punishment, Jisoo said. But now, I'm not sure it's a punishment anymore. I've learned to appreciate the time between masters, to use it for reflection. She smiled at Han. Though I would miss seeing new worlds and meeting people like you. Han thought for a long time. Then he turned to Jisoo. I think I'm ready for my third wish, he said. Jisoo straightened up, suddenly formal. What is your final command, Master? Han looked her in the eyes. I wish for you to be free to choose your own destiny, with the power to take human form or celestial form as you desire, bound by no one. Jisoo's eyes widened. The bottle in her hands began to shake. A crack appeared on its surface, then another. Light poured out from inside. Han, she whispered, do you know what you're doing? Setting you free, Han said simply. The bottle shattered into 1,000 tiny pieces. The pieces turned to light and swirled around Jisoo. She gasped as the light entered her body. Her blue glow brightened until Han had to look away. When the light faded, Jisoo stood there looking the same, but somehow different. She reached out her hand. A small flame appeared above her palm, then changed into a tiny flower, then into a butterfly that flew around before disappearing. I'm free, she said in wonder. Truly free. Not bound to the bottle. Not bound to grant wishes. She looked at Han. No one has ever done this before. What will you do now? Han asked. Jisoo thought for a moment. I think I would like to stay with you and your people for a while. Learn more about what it means to be human. Maybe I can help bridge the gap between humans and the cosmos. The captain might have something to say about that, Han said with a smile. I think I can be useful, Jisoo said. After all, I know where more of my people's artifacts might be hidden, and I can help keep your ship safe from any more traps. Han nodded. I'd like that. Jisoo touched his hand gently. Thank you, Han Ta. Your wishes were not what I expected when you found my bottle. Most humans wish for wealth, power, or pleasure for themselves. I got something better, Han said. A friend from the stars. Jisoo smiled. Then she did something unexpected. Her form shimmered, and she changed back into her blue celestial appearance, complete with the crystal bikini. I thought you might prefer to see me this way sometimes, she said with a mischievous smile. I noticed you liked it. Han felt his face grow hot. Now it was his turn to blush. Jisoo laughed, the sound like music among the stars. See, it's fun to make others blush too. Together, they turned back to the window, watching the stars as the Odysseus continued its journey. Jisoo was no longer a genie bound to a bottle. She was free to find her own path among the stars. And for now, that path would be alongside the humans who had taught her what it truly meant to be alive.